Ladies and gentlemen of the grimdark future, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this casted Dawn of War 2 showdown. So we are going to be here with the Elite mod, and spawning in on the north side of the map, it is going to be Aspect on the Imperial Guard. And to the south side, it is going to be the Tyranids, who are going to be helmed by a Hellhound here, who is going to be rocking a Hive Tyrant, and getting out on that map pretty quickly. So Hive Tyrant, of course, if you guys are a little bit newer to the Elite mod, is the big bruiser character of the Tyranids. Most factions in this game do have like a bruiser kind of combat-centric character. You know, for Space Marines, you got the Force Commander. For Chaos, you have the Chaos Lord. Tyranids have the Hive Tyrant. Usually, very tanky, kind of Terminator-esque. They can move through and crush various entrenchments here, like these sandbags, and look super cool as well. Now, for the Guard, they're going to be using the Commisar. He's pretty fighty for sure. So for the Guard, you have the Inquisitor, the Commisar, and then you also have the Lord General. Now, in my experience, the Commisar is pretty brawly. He can for sure get up close and fight, especially if you get his shield ability. That allows him to stand toe-to-toe with some of the bigger threats as well. All right, first call in here for Aspect is going to be the Sentinel. Sentinels in this game, for anybody coming from the Dawn of War 1 background, they're pretty different. Sentinels here are a crowd control unit. They get an ability called Stomp, and you can see how they can crush terrain here as well, which is pretty fun. But they get the ground pound ability. So what this does is it knocks back and kind of stuns various units, gives you a lot of spatial utility, and also he does have a last cannon in the front, which is designed to kill like light infantry and things like that. So very, very good if you're expecting to get rushed by like a bunch of Tyranid Hormagaunts. They're coming at you, going real balls deep. You get the big boy in front of him, and you use the ground and pound. Now here, Aspect going to be poking. He does have the Sergeant coming out in the squad, which is going to help quite a bit, and the Lord Commissar just hanging out. And it looks like the Godzilla is just going to retreat. So he didn't like that, just wants to go back to the base and heal, and just cap himself up before preparing a push. In the meantime, Tyranid's going to be using their Hormagaunts running up the side of the map to grab the objectives, and that is something else to explain real quick. So this game works off of objective markers. Each player does have one defensive objective marker, and whoever has more objective markers is essentially going to be bleeding the points off their opponent. You're going to be losing points, and whoever runs out first essentially gets karate chopped there. So that is how that goes. Here in the middle, you got Guardsmen, and then the Sentinel here with the ground and pound upgrade. And aside from that, I think we just have Sergeant upgrades. And for the Tyranids, we have a couple Hormagaunts, but very conservative play from Hellhound out of the gates. As soon as he gets in a position where he could bleed models, he's mainly just retreating, probably waiting to get some more units here. And it looks like he is going to be getting a Ravener Brood, which is a pretty cool unit you'll be seeing in uno momento. So the Guardsmen going to be surging forth, looking to grab some ground where they can. So they're stomping on over. Maybe going to be taking the victory point here, and a potential bash opportunity here for the Guard, as they could move up and maybe take down a couple power generators, but I seriously doubt it. Tyranids are going to be back out, and the Ravener Brood, these guys put in some work. You're going to see them. They do have the infantry armor keyword, if I'm not mistaken, so I don't think they count as heavy infantry despite looking big and scary. And they do have a ranged attack here. They got their skeet attack, bringing in their early 2000s Little John. And here comes the Hormagaunts. Hormagaunts, of course, will be pretty effective at chasing the Guardsmen, but here comes the Stomp. And that's what it's used for, fending off scary aliens pushing you here. So the Hormagaunts are going to get forced back most likely, although some of them do close the distance. And Hormagaunts are very squishy and kind of glass cannon-ish. But what's nice about them is they're one of the best units at chasing things down in the game. So units, when they run in this game, take extra melee damage. And you can see the Hormagaunts able to get a wipe actually on a Guardsman squad there. So Aspect taking a very, very early wipe there against Tyranids. Great fight for the Nids there, as they are able to force back the Guard. And the Guard Sentinel is also relatively low as well. Is going to need some repairs, and in this game they of course do get repaired by the Guardsman squads. So no losses yet. Generators were saved. One of the generators did get a little bit danger low, but it looks like it was stabilized there at the very end, which is quite nice. And now we do have another unit coming out. It's going to be another Hormagaunt. So using the Ravener Brood as the ranged DPS, and really leaning heavily into the Hormagaunts, trying to chase down the Guardsman units. So for the Guard, yep, using her Sentinel to screen them out, it's going to be quite good. Commisar, of course, has some utility fighting. Both players are going to be on tri-generators, and even on the victory points. So nobody's far ahead there. The outside objective has been contested, and nobody's grabbed it yet. A little bit of skirmishing in the middle. Guardsmen moving up, and we do see some upgrades, I believe, on the melee units. We see the adrenal glands. Increases the squad's health, damage by 22%, increases leap attack damage from 8 to 12, and speed by 0.25. So very good for chasing down units, which is exactly what they did earlier. And they did have that upgrade when we looked a little bit earlier on as well. Guard going to be pushing the west side of the map once again, and what are they going to be building? A fast tier 2, interesting. So obviously losing some of the early exchanges, going to be taking a bit of a gamble and teching up to tier 2, hoping that their opponent will maybe respect them a little bit more than they should and not push up. So we'll see if old Hellhound here is going to be able to move up and punish this greed, or maybe they're just going to go tier 2 themselves. No, it doesn't look like it. Currently, Hellhound is very, very low on requisition as well as power, so just a much stronger earlier game here with the triple Hormigaunt as well as the Ravener Brood. And now we have a Godzilla battling it out versus the Commisar, and a couple upgrades. We have the Synapse upgrade, which gives him the big buffs to the nearby Tyrant. It's very nice for the big Hormigaunt swarms, and he does have the Warp Field, which he can activate. It's the exact same as this ability. But the Commisar, I think does he come with one? It looks like he does. Anyways, fight in the middle. We do have the Gaunts coming in, and some Gaunts flanking from the east. Really nice play there, coming in from the west side. Because here's the thing, if Hellhound had ran all of his Gremlins up the middle, would have been pretty easy for the Sentinel to just stomp the yard and screen them all out. But he came from the west here. He's able to get a really good pushback. And of course, the Hive Tyrant is going to be able to beat a Commisar at combat. Now the Tyranids got a little bit of agency on the battlefield. Very beat up guard here. Could potentially consider a power bash or play the safer play, which is decapping the requisition, taking the middle, decapping the victory point, and going for a triple cap here, which of course is going to be very, very strong. Guard are coming back out. Their Sentinel is only 300 HP, but it should be enough to screen out some Hormagaunts and keep those guys honest. And it looks like they're probably going to get the decap and retreat. They do get the decap, and very, very good micro by Hellhound there. He is able to retreat immediately. Commisar, no upgrades yet. We do see the Bionic Eye coming in. Okay, so we're going to have to see what that does. I'm still kind of newbie at this game. I know the basics of some factions, but I don't know all the items and abilities yet, so please forgive me as we do learn those together. Over here, Hormagaunts going to be grabbing the victory point, and we do see the requisition point being grabbed here as well. And the Bionic Eye upgrade, let's see. So grants him Commisar Determination ability, which renders the targeted squad immune to suppression and healing the remaining men to full health, increasing the squad speed by 2.5. Oh, that's cool. So if you were to get some elite units, for example, or like some stormtroopers or whatever, you could heal them up and get some very good value out of that. Okay, he's got his Bionic Eye on. Yeah, he's keeping tabs on things. A bit of a skirmish here in the middle. And the Guardsman squads have gotten flamethrowers, which is going to make them very effective at shooting against the Hormagaunts and some of the lighter infantry that we do see around the battlefield. Godzilla's chasing here, and he does have his Gremlins, going to be forcing these guys back, and I would imagine that they are going to be retreating. No, actually getting in the building here. Okay, so they're going to be taking some cover, and do they shoot the flamethrowers out of the building is the question. Moving on up are the Ravener Broods and more little Gremlins going to be coming across. Tier 2 going to be your reach for Tyranids. Guardsmen are going to have to put something out soon, some sort of an armor, you know, a Hellhound, Chimera, whatever those things are called. He's going to need the transport. Yeah, so he keeps attacking here. The Guardsmen are holed up in the building, and the Ravener Brood is going to be trying to get a pick on the Sentinel. 100 HP, 92, 72, 62. Oh man, if he had stayed the course, he would have gotten the kill. Yeah, it was like a game of chicken right there, and the Tyranids ended up pulling back right there. But nonetheless, so far Hellhound is in a very good position, but we are, of course, in the early reaches of the game here, and I think there's a lot more battle to be had. As the a preemptive Venom Brood, just knowing that there's going to be some guard armor out is brilliant. So Venom Brood are the anti-vehicle units here for the Tyranids at Tier 2, which are going to be great. And we do see a Chimera coming out. So the Chimera is going to be on its way and will be getting ready to push up. And you can load Guardsman squads in it, and they can shoot from it, which is really nice. Very, very good against like the lower tier units, like some of the Hormagaunts and different things like that. The Venom Brood is going to give it the business pretty bad. And the big Godzilla here is battling the Commisar, but it does look like his Bionic Eye probably will not save him. Granted, his allies might be able to. The Guardsman coming up, and here comes the armor of the Imperium. So the Chimera is out. He does have Commissars and flamethrowers in these squads, which is going to be very, very nice. Godzilla is going to be forced to run away, and the Tyranids setting up their Venom Brood, which is shooting at the Commisar. Won't do much damage. When the Venom Brood gets onto the Chimera, that's going to be a different story. Now, what you would want to do as the guard is obviously focus all your fire on the Venom Brood, try and take them off the field, and then bully your opponent. Here comes the flank. Hormagaunts moving in. Nice War Stomp, able to knock back a whole bunch of those units, and now that was very ideal, right? The guard's been able to really get them with the flamethrowers. The Chimera also putting some hurt down on them, but the Commisar does get bullied a little bit here. Having a bad time, is going to be getting chased back by the Gremlins and the old Venom Broods, putting some hurt down onto the Sentinel, which has heavy infantry armor, so I don't know how that interacts with Venom Brood's DPS, which I think is particular against vehicles, but I would imagine it still does some good damage there. Battlefield control for the Tyranids, 467 against 220 right now. Tyranids are going to be gremlining the high ground here with their adrenal glands all over the board. Ravener Brood, what upgrade do they have? The Enhanced Muscle Coil. So morph the Ravener Brood into a dedicated melee unit. Okay. So they came out as a range unit, but now they're a dedicated melee unit. Some more health. They removed the ranged weapons, Scything Talons, power DPS. Okay, going to be a little bit better against armor. It allows them to burrow and remain underground indefinitely. Resurfacing will knock enemies out. Oh, that's so freaking cool. So they can go underneath the units and they can pop up on them. Oh, that's so rad. All right, so we do see some warriors coming out. So warriors have a couple options. Obviously, you can keep them melee-centric or give them the strangle barb guns. They could do some cool stuff either way. Heavy weapons seem going to be coming out for the guard as the Chimera posturing up in the middle. And it does look like Aspect is going to be reclaiming some ground here. Chimera shooting, but being pushed here, and it's got to watch out. The Venom Brood is very, very good against those units. And look at that, the Ravener's popping up from underground. Not really able to get much here, but are they going to be able to hunt the Sentinel? The Sentinel uses the Stomp ability and does force those guys back. No more heavy fighting in the middle for now. As we look up in the north, the Guard do have a couple injured vehicles, and I would imagine the Guardsmen are going to be busy repairing those bad boys. Heavy weapons team set up. I really like how weapons teams play in Dawn of War 2. They're very fun, and they look super cool as well. Look at this. Dawn of War 2 actually, man, looks really good. I think it was, what, 2009, give or take? I mean, this honestly looks better than a lot of newer RTS games. So they're going to be grabbing this, running up the field here. Chimera is coming as well. Flamethrower is following to boot. And the Chimera is healed up. Nobody's building anything at this point. Looking at the supply, it's going to be 69 for the Tyranids, the blessed number of Slaanesh, and 62 for the Imperial Guardsmen. A little bit of rumble going down here. Godzilla taking some damage. He does have the Crushing Claws, effective against all targets, so it gives him heavy melee DPS. And now the heavy weapons team putting a little bit of suppression down, but it looks like Hellhound is going to be able to close the distance. And despite being Chads, I don't think the heavy weapons team is going to be able to cover all that pressure coming in from all these angles, these 4 units, and is going to be forced back. Lord Commisar has the Xenos Power Claw, so he does have heavy melee DPS himself. Oh man, really ripping apart these Gaunts here, man, doing some big work. He's got the big pimp slap there, and it looks like he is going to get a wipe potentially, and yep, he does get a wipe. Very, very nice. Here we do see Warrior Broods overextending a little bit and getting shot up by the entire Guardsman army. And here the Commissar, now he's really going beast mode. He's gotten level 2, he's got the Power Claw and the Stubbornness. Lord Commissar refuses to fall while his men fight. His health regenerates for 10%. His health regenerates by 10.5% every... Okay, that's cool. When he's surrounded by allied troops. Okay, so it's like a group kind of thing. If he's with the Guardsmen, he's going to keep fighting. Really like that, man. Very, very fun. Guard are setting up where they can. The Commissar here are going to be taking the requisition point, but the Tyranids have been able to hold on to the victory tickets. So currently they have 441 of their own left, and the Guardsmen are bleeding right now. They're at 165, and it is getting worse and worse here as the Guardsmen head over to the east, and they are going to be grabbing that point. On the bottom side, power nodes are up, and Tyranids are going to be going tier 3, which could be a sign of a big scary Carnifex or a Stormlord. And Guard are going to be going tier 3 as well, so this is going to be interesting. Guard are certainly a little bit behind, but it's not the end of the world. The Tyranids have had the map control for some time, but you know that could flip in the blink of an eye if a couple wipes go down. And oh, look at this! So the Imperial Guard laying proximity mines on their western flank because the Tyranid player Hellhound has been doing an amazing job flanking all game, and he's trying to deny the flank, anticipating that the Tyranids are going to try it again. He lays the minefield here using one of his army abilities, which is very, very fun. All right, Tyranids coming across. Look at the Commissar, dude. He's like Benny Hilling this shit. He's like, come on, you know you want it. I'm pretty sure Warrior Broods have stealth detection. I can't quite remember. So I think he was probably able to see those mines. I think that, yeah, that's what those indicators were, is that he was able to see that. So that's unfortunate there. Now, Ravener Brood creeping underground. Nice and creepy sleepy here. They're going to be popping up under these guys, and here they come. And will they do the knockdown damage here? Yep, there he goes. Oh, that's so cool, and it like suppresses the unit. And they're able to jump in melee and really start to rip these guys apart. Pretty cool usage out of those, man. I really like that. The Guardsmen are going to be running, and in the middle here we do see the Venom Broods poking away at the enemy army. Tier 3 is up for both players, as the Ravener Brood is probably going to want to flee the scene. The Commissar is pretty Chad with his big Xenos Power Claw. And we do get a big Royal Rumble here, but it's going to be right into the heavy weapons team of the Guard. We're going to see if it's going to make a difference. Oh, he retreats it immediately. Okay, the Capillary is coming up, supporting the Tyranid army. Synapse in full effect as the Tyranids do surge north, and you can see definitely a bit of a rout on these guys. Guardsmen are getting chased back here, and the Chimera is going to be putting some fire support downtown. So Aspect did do a good job mitigating his damage, but Hellhound, every time he wins a fight like that, takes quite a bit of map control here. Venom Brood's going to be forced to run, with the Venom Brood on the run here. Man, that Commissar, man, he's crumping right now. 22 HP on this man. Guardsmen coming down from the north with the Chimera and the infantry. And the Warrior Broods are going to be fleeing as well. In the meantime, though, good Gremlin play. The Ravener Brood was able to creep away from the fight, just kind of smeagol downriver. And now they are going to be grabbing this point, maybe. Although they do get the decap, I don't suspect they're going to be capturing it. The Guardsman heavy weapon team is going to be setting up and unleashing a bunch of holy bolter fire of the Emperor on the Ravener Brood. And maybe a wipe here. Oh, Hellhound missed it. Oh, is it going to get away? It's going to be close. 22 HP, 17 HP. I don't think the Sentinel's going to be chasing. So, oh my god, he gets away with 3 HP. Wow, that was very fortunate. Very, very fortunate here. But guys, 800 resources for the Tyranids, 500 for the Guard. So the Guard are probably going to get a Lehman Russ, I would guess. They're going to have to get something to deal with the inevitable Swarm Lord that is very obviously being built up here. And I bet you were going to... I think the Swarm Lord is like 175 on power or something like that. I've only played like 1 or 2 games of Tyranid. I've seen them played quite a bit, but I can't quite remember what the power situation is. Venom Brood on the outside, going to be grabbing this point. And over here we do see the Sentinels. Sentinels cannot capture objectives, but they do have a decap. So you can use those bad boys to decap points there and, yeah, get some good work done for you. All right, Lehman Russ going to be coming out for the Guard, so the Armor of the Emperor will be here soon. All 3 of the points are being contested, and the Chimera very heavily overextended right now. Ravener Brood going to be submerging in the ground and probably looking to close. Oh, look at that. They tunneled underneath the weapons teams. Oh, that's so clutch. What a nice play by Hellhound there. Really, really able to get on top of the weapons teams, lock those down, freeing up the rest of the Tyranid army. Godzilla going to be heading over to the west, backed up by his Hormagaunts, all of whom are pretty low, but the Guards here are a little bit unsupported and probably are going to be forced to run, while the Ravener Brood and Warrior Brood here pushing back the main armored force. So here comes Lehman Russ. Lehman Russ is going to be a big playmaker when it gets out. Should be able to put some work done. Warrior Brood chasing down the Commisar. Commisar running back to the base. As the Emperor's backbone is here, the Lehman Russ, and it looks like it is going to be switching to an Executioner. So it is going to be getting the Plasma Weaponry. And one of the Tyranids going to spend that money, man, 1,000. I think Swarm Lords are 800, right? Maybe it's a power thing. I'm not actually sure what the delay is on that. But in the meantime, Hellhound pushing the Guard back over and over here is going to be taking the map control, which, I mean, the Guard might start to claw back here if he doesn't get his big beastie out soon. There it is. Okay, we do see the Swarm Lord. Okay, it was an energy issue. It is 200 energy to get that thing out. Okay, Lehman Russ here putting in some damage. Venom Brood, though, able to trade pretty effectively and get, 15-20% HP off the Lehman Russ. High ground has been taken by Hormagaunts, and Hormagaunts could maybe swarm in the weapons teams before they set up. We'll see. It looks like they are going to be opting to retreat, as it is going to be a battle of the big boys. Okay, the Armored Hammer of the Emperor moving south and looking at the supply. Currently 80 to 80, but that's about to be changing pretty big when the Swarm Lord gets out. Lehman Russ using its plasma. Oh my god, melting those Tyranid units. Man, oh man. And here comes the Lehman Russ. Really able to put some hurt with its plasma execution on these guys. God damn! He's losing a lot right now, guys. Could this be the comeback for the Imperial Guard? You only have 92 tickets though, man. It's gonna get real sketchy here. Looking at the supply, it's 66 against 80, but that's about to equalize, as the generators are going to go back to the Tyranids. It's really not a big deal, though. Even if they lose the generators, they can just build trash units, because they're going to have their Super Heavy and the Hive Tyrant, which is probably going to be enough to deal with a lot of these guys. Look at that, the landmines being laid! Oh, that's so cool. So covering the retreat of the Lehman Russ with landmines, but obviously the Warriors are able to see it, and the landmines are going to be averted. But now we got the big Chungus out. It is the Swarm Lord. Legendary monstrous creature, 2,000 HP. So, objectives favor the Imperial Guard for now. Tyranid's going to be cruising up and calling in the Hormagaunts, so I believe that's one of their army abilities or some sort of an activated ability. Termagant and Hormagaunts being called in, but they get called in right on top of a heavy weapons team, which is just pure pain. Swarm Lord going to be surging forth, and he careth not for your heavy bolter fire. Swarm Lord coming with his dreaded quad samurai swords, and he's going to be moving towards that Lehman Russ, trying to hunt that thing down. Ravener Brood going after the weapons team, and Tyranid's probably going to start grabbing the points here, knowing that they're very close. And oh, the Commisar, he's overextended. Ooh, is he going to be able to get away? He is being hunted very heavily. He's at 400 HP, but able to use his shield ability, which mitigates some of that damage. And now the Gaunt's going to be running, some of which run over the landmines. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, they've been there. They've literally been there the whole game, but this objective gets taken. If the Tyranids do send just a warrior over here, for example, that's the thing. The Tyranid army can fight better when it's kind of separated and on its own. I mean, the Synapse makes it very strong too, but the Guards units individually will lose often to the individual Tyranid units, right? So double cap coming in for the Tyranids. Swarm Lord is going to be chilling, and just like that, the Tyranids are at 82 supply, and we see a second Lehman Russ tank coming out. Wowza. Okay, we're going to have a big fight on our hands, and we're going to see if the Guard are going to be able to pull this one back. Lehman Russ are on their way, and at the back we do see the heavy turrets as well as the Chimera shooting, but here comes Swarm Lord, big pimpin'. Yeah, forcing those guys to run. One of the Warrior Broods here getting hammered pretty good. The Lehman Russ is really laying the hurt on. Swarm Lord, they're basically just using a stuffing tactic, so for anybody from Total War Domination, he's just like throwing shit in his opponent's face knowing that he's going to win on objectives, right? Even if he loses the value trading here, he's keeping his opponent pinned to the base, fighting back here instead of playing the objectives, which the Tyranids are able to just use their massive amount of chaff units to deal with. So Hive Tyrant and Swarm Lord, they do get down to Chimera, so the Chimera gets blasted, but it's not the Lehman Russ. Demon Russ is here, really, really putting in some heavy lifting. But goddamn, these double Godzilla monsters are so scary. And a second Lehman Russ pops out of the box. Merry Christmas. Only 48 points here. Guardsmen putting some work in. Tyranids are using the stuffing tactics, but they are going to need to run, as the Hive Tyrant takes a lot of damage here. Swarmlord still has 600 HP, but going to be piecing back to the objective, which makes sense. And for the Tyranids, you just retreat and send your units over to defend the objectives, and you should be able to win on points. They really don't have a lot of time, as we are approaching 22 seconds. Obviously, if this game went longer, the double Lehman Russes could really, really cause a lot of problems and swing the game back to the Guard. But I don't think the Guard are going to have time. Desperation tactics by Aspect here. Very Chad Guardsmen going in with their Commissar, but yeah, that's not going to end well for them, as they're going to get ripped to pieces right there by the Tyranids, and that is going to be GG. Well played. Really, really good back and forth game. Honestly, super contested. You know, the Guard started to take over within the last 2 minutes, but the Tyranids had done enough in the early game and had the Swarmlord as a true distraction Carnifex to run up and really control the battlefield. So super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a great, great game, and thank you to Aspect and Hellhound for sending that awesome replay. These are two high-level RTS players we have in our Discord. Aspect, of course, won our Dawn of War 1 tournament, and Hellhound has been pretty beast mode at Dawn of War 1 and very good at this game as well. So very cool to see. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing the big Godzillas fighting the brave champions of the Emperor, and we will see you all on the other side.